Hey everyone, and welcome back to Whispers of Crime.
Glad to be back.
Today, we're diving into a case that'll leave you chilled to the bone.
It's one of those stories that makes you really question everything you think you know about families.
Oh, absolutely.
And the secrets hiding behind those oh-so-perfect doors.
So we're heading to Elmwood, Pennsylvania.
Quiet town.
Right.
Close-knit.
Nobody would have ever expected this.
Never. Until the Graysons, their world imploded, basically.
Yeah.
Picture it. Okay. A perfect house.
Maple Hollow Lane.
You know the kind, like, from a holiday movie?
White picket fence.
The whole bit, yeah.
The Graysons, they were the envy of everyone.
Oh, for sure.
So you have Harrison, the dad.
Successful insurance guy.
Yeah, everyone loved him.
Total charmer.
Then there's Camille, the mom.
Beloved teacher.
So kind, dedicated.
The best.
And their two kids, Landon.
He's 18.
Aspiring writer.
Right. And then Paige's
16 and a star gymnast.
Both. Super talented.
Like the perfect all-American family, right?
Had it all. Success, happiness, a loving home.
But as we'll see, looks can be deceiving.
Oh, yeah.
Huge cracks in this picture-perfect facade.
Secrets waiting to explode.
In the worst way possible.
Now, adding to the mix, we have Mavis.
Harrison's mom.
That's right.
Moved in with the Graysons earlier that year.
Some health things, you know?
On the surface, typical loving grandma.
Right. Cookies, helping with the kids, always smiling.
But whispers started circulating around town.
Little things people notice.
Hinting at something darker.
Neighbors would see her.
What, like out walking?
Pacing, actually.
Huh.
Late at night, lost in thought.
Really?
Some described her as possessive.
Over.
Harrison, her son.
Like weirdly possessive.
Like she couldn't stand him having a life of his own.
Well, red flags everywhere.
But no one could have predicted the nightmare.
Nope, it all started one Sunday.
Crisp November morning.
The piece of Elmwood shattered.
Gruesome discovery.
I can't even imagine.
Picture this. A neighbor walking her dog.
Oh?
Sees Mavis on the Graysons' porch, rocking back and forth, clutching a blood-stained handkerchief.
Oh, God.
Something's off, you know? Vacant stare.
So she goes to check on her.
Tries talking to Mavis. Mumbles incoherent responses.
About?
Protecting him.
Protect who?
That's the question.
So the neighbor, sensing something's wrong.
Very wrong.
What'd she do?
Peeks through the window.
And see.
A scene straight out of a horror movie.
Oh my God.
Inside, their perfect home.
Yeah.
Bloodbath, Harrison and Camille.
The parents.
On the living room floor.
Dead.
Landon's slumped over the kitchen counter, covered in stab wounds.
No.
And Paige, the youngest.
At the bottom of the stair.
Gone.
The whole family. Just wiped out.
Brutally murdered in their own home.
And Mavis.
The only one left.
On the porch.
Rockin', muttering about protection.
Chilling.
Police arrived to utter chaos.
Great
Blood
leader.
stains, furniture overturned.
What could have driven someone to do this?
It's the question that haunts everyone.
Who would want to harm the Graysons?
And what was Mavis's role in all of this?
Victim, witness, or something much darker?
Right from the start, her behavior was off.
That eerie calmness.
Those cryptic words about protection.
It's like she knew something.
More than just an innocent bystander.
The police took her in, obviously.
Yet questioning.
They needed answers, and she was the only one who could give them.
But her statements were confusing.
Like what?
Said she couldn't remember anything.
Amnesia.
Claimed she blacked out.
Convenient.
Woke up on the porch, disoriented, covered in blood. Insisted she loved her family.
Never heard them.
But the evidence told a different story. As investigators pieced together the weekend's events, a chilling truth began to emerge.
A truth that would expose the dark secrets.
Lurking beneath their perfect life.
I knew it.
One of the first breakthroughs came from Landon's phone.
The aspiring writer.
Remember the quiet one. What they found sent shockwaves through the investigation.
Okay, I'm hooked. What was it?
Hidden among his drafts and notes, text messages, a prepaid number.
Okay.
Intimate, disturbing messages.
What kind of disturbing?
Revealing a secret relationship.
Landon was having an affair.
He seemed conflicted about it.
Like he knew it was wrong.
Torn between affection and unease.
Who is the other person?
That prepaid number.
Yeah.
It belonged to Mavis.
His grandma.
The messages, they painted a disturbing picture.
A relationship that crossed the line.
One that Landon wanted to end.
But couldn't.
He felt trapped.
So we have this picture-perfect family.
Right.
But behind closed doors...
A dark secret.
This inappropriate relationship with his grandma.
Almost like something out of a psychological thriller.
That gets more complicated, right?
Camille, Landon's mom, she suspected something.
Between them.
Her son and her mother-in-law.
Wow.
Camille's friend told police that Camille confided in her, noticing a strange closeness between Mavis and Landon.
Oh, wow.
She was going to confront Mavis.
But never get the chance.
That weekend, the tension in that house.
Oh, it's been thick.
It reached a boiling point.
What happened?
Camille found those explicit messages.
On Landon's phone.
She confronted him.
About it.
Heated argument turned into a full-blown family fight.
Neighbors could hear them.
Several of them.
Oh, man, imagine the scene. Harrison coming home from his business trip.
Right.
Walking into that chaos.
His wife furious.
Son distraught.
Mavis storming out in a rage.
It's like a powder keg.
Waiting to explode.
And explode it did.
But not just metaphorical.
The explosion.
Literal violent.
Leaving 4 people dead.
A town reeling in shock and disbelief.
This is heavy stuff.
It's just the beginning.
Can't wait to dig deeper into this.
We'll uncover the truth behind this family's facade.
Stay with us for part 2 of the Grayson family murders.
Right here on Whispers of Crime.
Welcome back to Whispers of Crime. If you're just joining us, we're uncovering the Grayson family murders.
A case that totally rocked Elmwood, Pennsylvania.
So we've got this seemingly perfect family, but behind the smiles,
a dark secret.
Landon, the teenage son, and Mavis, his own grandmother, were involved in an inappropriate relationship.
And in part 1, things were getting really heated in the Grayson household.
Right. Camille, Landon's mom, found those explicit texts and confronted them both.
Total family meltdown.
So now the police have this horrific crime scene, 4 murders, and Mavis, the only survivor, acting all strange.
Conflicting statements, those shocking text messages on Landon's phone.
What did the police do next?
They had to dig into Mavis's past.
Find any clues to explain her behavior.
And maybe a motive.
Because remember, on the surface, Mavis was the sweet grandma.
But the investigators started talking to people.
Getting the real story.
A very different picture of Mavis emerged.
It's like those true crime shows, right?
Absolutely.
Interview the neighbors, old friends, classmates.
Slowly uncovering a whole other side to the suspect.
So what'd they find out about Mavis?
The more they learned, the more disturbing it became.
Uh-oh.
Former neighbors described her as manipulative, controlling, always had to be the center of attention.
Sounds like my Aunt Carol.
They said she would guilt trip people into doing what she wanted.
Right.
Loved to stir up drama.
So it wasn't just about controlling Landon.
Yeah.
This was a pattern, a need to control everyone.
Seems that way.
What about Harrison?
Several people mention Mavis had a really strong hold on him.
Even as a grown man.
Even then, he was walking on eggshells around her.
Afraid to make her mad.
Afraid to disappoint her.
It's like she didn't see him as a separate person.
Right.
Just an extension of herself.
That's pretty typical
Oh.
narcissistic personality disorder.
Could Mavis have had that?
Some experts think so.
They have that inflated sense of self-importance.
Zero empathy for others.
So their relationships are all about
Power and control, not real love.
Okay, so we've got these red flags.
About Mavis's personality.
Manipulative, controlling, needing to be in charge.
But is that enough to make someone a killer?
I mean, it's bad, but murder.
Well, remember those whispers we talked about?
The things people noticed about Mavis that seemed off.
Yeah, those whispers take on a whole new meaning.
Give me an example.
One story involved a distant cousin.
Okay.
He claimed that Mavis hit on him when he was a teenager.
Ick.
Nothing was ever officially reported.
Still.
Adds another layer of creepiness.
Especially knowing about her and Landon.
Right, it's like those little signs.
The ones we ignore or explain away.
But looking back.
They're huge red flags.
And then there's the death of her first husband.
Like Friday.
Officially a heart attack.
But
The timing was suspicious.
like how?
It happened right after he supposedly found out her affair.
She was cheating on him.
With a younger man.
So a history of infidelity and a preference for younger men.
It's a disturbing pattern.
Makes you wonder about her motives with Landon.
Was she really attracted to him?
Or was he just someone she could easily control?
Vulnerable.
Those text messages definitely show an unhealthy dynamic.
One where Landon felt trapped.
Power imbalance.
Remember, the messages show Landon trying to break up with Mavis.
He wanted out.
He knew it was wrong, felt guilty, but he was terrified of what she might do.
If he rejected her.
Classic manipulation.
She probably used every trick in the book.
Emotional blackmail, threats, guilt.
To keep Landon under her thumb.
It's heartbreaking.
This young man, so much potential.
Caught in this web of toxicity.
And Camille, she saw what was happening.
She tried to step in, protect her kids.
But nobody listened to her.
They brushed off her concerns.
As what?
Overprotective or misunderstanding Mavis's eccentric personality.
Like she was just a quirky old lady.
If only someone had listened to Camille.
This whole thing might have been avoided.
It's a tragic reminder
of
how easy it is to miss the signs of abuse.
Especially in families.
We want to believe our loved ones would never hurt us.
That families are safe.
But the Graysons prove that's not always true.
Sometimes the biggest danger comes from within.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know Mavis was manipulative.
Had a history of bad behavior.
And craved control.
But what about the murders themselves?
How did she pull it off?
That's the million-dollar question.
I mean, she's just sitting there on the porch, covered in blood.
Calm as can be.
Saying, I had to protect him.
Protect who?
Landon. Herself.
The truth is way darker than anyone could have guessed.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me what happened that night.
Well, the evidence suggests after that family blow-up, Mavis went into kill mode.
Cold and calculating.
Remember the sedatives the police found?
The benzos. Like she drugged them all.
To make them easier to control?
Wow.
The toxicology reports showed high enough levels to knock them out.
Or at least make them super confused.
It was planned, chillingly efficient.
Like something out of a horror movie.
You're safe at home with your family.
And then, bam!
The person you trust most is plotting to kill you.
That's terrifying.
And what happened next is even worse.
Okay, before we go there.
Yeah.
I need a minute to process.
It's a lot.
His sweet grandma. Turns out she's a controlling monster.
Drugged and murdered her entire family.
It's just mind-blowing.
I get it. It's overwhelming.
This case is wild, twists and turns everywhere.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
About family, about trust.
Well, we have to face the truth.
However awful it is.
Exactly.
So back to that night.
Okay.
What happened after Mavis drugged everyone?
How did she carry out this horrific plan?
Back again with whispers of crime, and we're wrapping up the Grayson family murders. It's a tough one.
A real heartbreaker.
Just to recap, this picture-perfect family hid a truly messed up secret.
Landon, the son, and Mavis, his grandma, were in a relationship that should never have happened.
And we left off with Mavis drugging her entire family, her son, daughter-in-law, and both grandkids.
Powerful sedatives, yeah.
So what happened next? You left us hanging last time.
We know she drugged them, but how did she actually kill them? What was going on in her head?
Seriously, I need answers.
Well, the forensic evidence tells a pretty clear story.
Okay, lay on me.
Once those drugs kicked in, Mavis went room to room, cold as ice, carrying out her plan.
Methodical, huh?
Started with Harrison, her own son.
No way!
One shot to the chest, quick and clean.
I mean, to kill your own son like that, it's so emotionless. It's
beyond disturbing.
Shows a real lack of empathy.
We talked about narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah, where she saw Harrison as part of her.
Not a separate person with his own life.
So to her, it wasn't murder.
It was removing an obstacle.
And Camille, what happened to her?
Her murder, it was brutal.
Oh, God.
Multiple stab wounds, chest and abdomen.
Pure rage.
The force, it suggests a level of anger that's hard to even imagine.
Maybe Mavis blamed Camille for everything.
It's possible.
Camille was the one who found those texts.
Right.
Confronted both of them.
Maybe Mavis saw her as a threat.
To her control over Landon.
Makes sense.
But what about Landon and Paige? It breaks my heart to think about them.
The evidence shows Landon actually woke up.
During the attack.
Despite the drugs, he fought back.
Good for him.
He was stabbed multiple times, but managed to hurt Mavis too.
Really?
A piece of glass near his body had her blood on it.
He must have been so scared.
To wake up and see your own grandma trying to kill you.
And then to protect Paige too.
Landon's actions probably bought Paige some time.
She tried to run, right?
She was found at the bottom of the stairs.
Defensive wounds on her hands and arms.
She fought back too, bravely.
But Mavis was too strong.
It's senseless. A whole family gone because of one woman's need for control.
It's a nightmare.
And then the police arrive. Mavis is just sitting there, covered in blood, calm as a summer day.
Say, I had to protect him.
Protect who? We'll never know for sure.
So we've talked about the murders, the evidence, but what happened after? What did people think?
The Grayson murders, they shocked everyone. Elmwood and beyond.
National news.
The media, they swarmed the town.
They love a good story.
They called her the glamorous grandma.
Seriously.
It's crazy how the media latches onto these nicknames, almost makes it feel less real.
It's a way to make it digestible, I guess.
But we can't forget, behind those headlines are real people, real families destroyed by this.
Right, so the trial, what happened?
It was a media circus, cameras everywhere.
What did the defense do? Did they say she was insane?
They painted her as this fragile old woman who snapped under pressure.
Because of the family secrets.
Right. They said the murders were a desperate act, not planned, to protect Landon from some perceived threat.
So two sides. The prosecution saying it was cold-blooded murder, the defense claiming she wasn't in her right mind.
Exactly.
What did the jury think?
After weeks of testimony and debate, they reached a verdict.
Guilty.
On all counts. All 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Wow.
Mavis was sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole.
So in the end, they saw her for what she was, a killer.
The verdict brought some closure, but it also raised some tough questions.
About families, manipulation, the warning signs of abuse that we miss.
It's scary to think that evil can be so close to home.
You never really know what's going on behind closed doors.
The Grayson case, it's a warning to be more aware, to speak up if something feels wrong.
Because it could happen anywhere, to anyone.
And while the Graysons are gone, their story lives on.
In what way?
Camille's sister, Irene, she started a foundation, help families dealing with domestic violence.
In their memory.
It's called the Grayson Foundation, providing support and resources.
It's a powerful legacy.
Shows how even after tragedy, there can be hope, love can endure.
Well, that's our look into the glamorous grandma case. A chilling story about the dark side of family.
We hope this episode gave you some insight into human behavior and the dangers of unchecked manipulation.
And if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out, get help.
You're not alone. There are resources available.
And if you found this episode interesting, please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Spotify.
Leave a comment. Tell us what you think.
Your feedback helps us grow and reach more people.
Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.
A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but that